The Orchard sisters are part of a long history of family farmers in Wisconsin, but they're taking their farm to the next level with artisan butter. It's being sold to people across the country, and it's made in Columbus, Wisconsin. And on this National Farmers Day today, NBC 15's Mackenzie Davis introduces us to Jennifer and Julie Orchard, who are churning up a fan favorite dairy product.
We're seventh-generation dairy farmers.
At Royal Guernsey Creamery in Columbus.
Who looks younger?
Sisters Jennifer and Julie Orchard don't know anything different.
24/7, 365 days a year.
On their rather small family farm, they milk 150 cows. And these cows are the reason customers from all over the country are buying their European-style artisan butter.
So our butter is strictly the cream from the cows and salt. It's just 2 ingredients.
Their butter project started in 2016. And Jen and Julie say they're the only butter makers in the Badger State who are making butter from their own cow's milk. Although Wisconsin is filled with cheese lovers,
I also want to put Wisconsin butter and artisan butter on the map.
a majority of the butter they sell at Royal Guernsey is shipped out of state.
Everybody wants Wisconsin butter.
A hot commodity across the nation, purchased online. But right here in the Madison area, their products just launched in local grocery stores like Metcalfe's, giving Wisconsinites and others a taste of a different type of butter.
Salted butter. We have 2 flavored butters, a cinnamon and also our signature, which is a roasted garlic butter.
While customers are busy supporting local, Royal Guernsey Creamery is hoping to keep the family farm alive through future generations by starting a new generation of butter making. In Columbus, Mackenzie Davis, NBC 15 News.
And this summer, their salted butter won first place at the Wisconsin State Fair Dairy Products Contest and was then named Grand Champion Butter. Very cool.